Hi everyone, my name is Junon. I have a health science background and I'm the author of the book Truth and Empathy, How to Find Your Soulmate. And I'll put a link to the book below. This video is an MBTI romantic compatibility assessment of INFJs and INTJs. And I know that in online, and you can see a lot of information about the compatibility of different MBTI personality types, and some of it can be confusing. So I think it's a good idea to dive deeper and understand some subtleties about the interaction between a number of personality types to better understand why they would be more or less successful as romantic partners. So again, I have some notes here because I don't want to miss anything. So let's dive in. So if look at, let's say, the positive aspect between INFJs and INTJs. So first is that they're both intuitive, so they're both focused on the abstract. So instead of the five senses, so they like to play with theories that has to do with the future, being both having like introverted intuition as their first function. So these are the type of people who really look into like the deep aspect of life. The other point as well is that they're both judgers. So these are people who are organized. They like to get things done. They're good at following through. If let's say an INTJ or INFJ tells you that they're going to get something done, you know it's done because they said it. There's no doubts about it. So they will really appreciate that with each other. And also because of the fact they're both intuitives, but the introvert intuitives is that they have good energy. So let's say if you compare INFJ with all the other intuitive feelers, or INTJ compared to the other intuitive thinkers, they have the best of their category. So if you were to spend time with them, would feel rather relaxed, because the INTJ has a slow alpha brain of dominance and the INFJ has a theta brain of dominance. So that's why they give off this energy, because the slower the brainwave, the more coherent the energy field. The other point is that they're both introverts, so they feel energized by being alone or with one of the or two other individuals. So they will understand each other's space. So they won't feel pressure to spend time with, let's say, family or friends because the other person wants people around. So they will understand each other from that point of view. The other point also is that interesting enough, is that they're both spiritually inclined. And I know people might say, well, if the INTJ is into thinker, he's probably an atheist. But if you read about, let's say, Einstein and let's say Newton, these people, rather well known, I would type as an INTJs, they believed in God. So I think that really is a bridge between the INFJ and the INTJ, is that the INFJ, obviously being someone like Buddha, Jesus Christ, Mother Teresa, they are, it would be hard pressed to actually find an INFJ who's not a believer in a higher power. But you have to understand is that the INTJ is, in essence, an intellectual genius, and the INFJ is a spiritual genius. So I think that they will understand the fact that they are the minority. So you're not going to come across a lot of INFJs, as I already said in some of my videos, but also you won't come across a lot of INTJs because they're very rare. So the combination of both is going to be highly unlikely that they will cross paths to see this type of couple together. The other point is that they are going to be romantically faithful. So you'll see that with intuitives, judgers in general, they tend to be more faithful. So they won't have issues in terms of knowing if this person is, only with them and doesn't have is not straying. Both the INFJ and the INTJ usually have high IQ, so they will be able to understand each other that way. And also is that if you look at the function set, is that the INFJ has introverted thinking as its third function. So although the INFJ is an intuitive feeler, but they have also a well-developed left brain. So they'll be able to talk about math, science, and the INFJ will be able to understand the INTJ. On the downside is that the INFJ is very right brain dominant and the INTJ is very left brain dominant. So when it comes to interacting their romantic relationship, is that they're going to have issues, because for the INFJ, romantic relationship is very easy. You know, they are obviously very good at understanding subtleties. They are, as I said before, they are the spiritual geniuses. So for them, it's sort of self-evident what to do, what to say to maintain a close, healthy romantic relationship. By contrast, the INTJ is very left brain dominant because they have extrovert thinking as their second function. So it's very difficult for them to understand subtleties about a relationship, about, let's say, the emotional, let's say, context of different situations. So the INFJ will often feel misunderstood by the INTJ. Another point is that the INFJ has a feminine, orderly way of dealing their relationships. So it is about feeling connected with their mates. By contrast, the INTJ is a masculine, orderly type, and they don't need that type of closeness. So they'll find it kind of odd that the INFJ wants that level of communication and closeness. That the INFJ will most likely not be attracted to the INTJ because they'll find it's too cold, is too sort of in terms of facial expression. They want to feel connected on an emotional, spiritual level with the INTJ. So you'll feel what is kind of interesting is that the INTJ is going to be attracted to the INFJ because of that warmth, because it's such a feminine energy, but it's not a two-way street. Because the INFJ is very right brain dominant, they usually prefer discussing topics related to the human element, which has meaning, feelings, relationships, which is very different from the INTJ because the INTJ is very left brain dominant, so they'd rather talk about math and science or anything that has to do with more logic. So if we look again at the romantic compatibility between INFJs and INTJs, I would say that it's really not a good match because of the fact that they're so different. Usually the INTJ is more attracted to the INFJ than the other way around because the INFJ wants a deep, meaningful, emotionally fulfilling type of relationship. And the INTJ is not really designed for that. So you'll see that, yes, they have areas where they overlap in terms of both being intuitives, both having introvert intuition as their first function. They're both judgers. They're both introverts. When it comes to romantic compatibility, it's very important to look at whether someone is a feminine or masculine energy. In the case of the INFJs and the INTJs is that the INFJ has extrovert feeling as its second function and the INTJ has extrovert thinking as its second function. It means that they are at opposite ends. The INFJ wants a relation that is close. They want to bond. They're the type of people who are very good in terms of their relationships, whereas the INTJ usually are not good at it in terms of they're very much made for math and science and logic more than being in a romantic relationship. So let me know if you agree or disagree with this romantic compatibility assessment by commenting below. If you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, please click on the like button, subscribe to my channel, and we will talk soon.